Hello and welcome. I'm Carolyn Grimminger with the Public Affairs Forum of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. Our program's mission is to nourish the mind and spirit and serve social justice. Our forums occur on most Sundays at noon and are free and open to the public. We encourage you to attend. Our church is physically located at 4700 Grover Avenue in Austin, Texas. For more information about our Public Affairs Forum, you can go to our church website at www.austinuu.org. I will now introduce our speaker, Adrian Villegas. He is a writer, performer, artistic director, and a founding member of the Austin-based Emmy-nominated sketch group, the Latino Comedy Project, or LCP. It's currently celebrating its 20th anniversary. He is also the creator of critically acclaimed solo comedies, Six Mexicans Named Gonzalez and Barrio Days. Villegas' rollicking one-man show deals with barrio life, racial politics, and pop culture from a distinctly Latino point of view. Villegas' performance in his solo show, Barrio Days, was nominated by the Be Item Payne Award Committee for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy. The LCP's YouTube comedy videos of political and pop culture satire have amassed over 14 million views worldwide. The LCP Cast Studio also developed, wrote, and starred in an MTV3 comedy branding campaign for which the group received an Emmy nomination. The LCP was founded as a platform for Latino writing and performing talent. As such, it has served as an outlet to hear the voices of a community often neglected in the national dialogue of mainstream entertainment. Mr. Villegas is currently in pre-production for the LCP's next show in spring 2019, entitled Star Wars, a May the 4th Cinco de Mayo comedy fiesta. As solo performer and LCP director, Villegas strives to create work that entertains, bridges cultures, and feeds the hunger of underserved Latino audiences. Let's welcome Adrian Villegas.
Hi, thanks for having me. How y'all doing? Thanks for sticking around. A lot of the history I could share with you was in that introduction. The Latino Comedy Project started 20 years ago for the reasons that she stated, and we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We had taken a break from like 2012 to 2016. I'd taken a break from it, and we came back and did a show. I can't say the title fully here. It's Gentra Effed. About gentrification happening on the east side and around the country. And in the last couple of years since we come back have been really amazing because we realized how much hunger there was for this kind of work and how much of a void there had been since we stopped doing it. But I can get more into that in a minute, but I'll just give you an idea of what we do. One of the things we did for our show, we had an opening reel that kind of showed some of our videos that we've done over the years. It's kind of a retrospective. So I'll just share that with you, and then I'll get back into talking about the group. It's about 8 minutes of videos going back to years, going back to 2001. Okay, so.
Feeling those essential vitamins and minerals draining away? You need an injection of pure liquid power. Introducing Menudo-Raid, the Menudo-flavored power drink featuring Tripa. Yes, Tripa. Menudo-Raid contains big intestines, hominin, and electrolytes to give the active lawnmower the quick and sustained energy to reach peak performance. It's Menudo-Raid with Tripa. Other flavors include Carne Guisada-Raid, Fajita-Raid, and Barbacoa Ice.
Hello, I'm a BC, a born citizen.
Y yo soy un Mex.
Damn it, I can't believe this.
¿Qué?
The damn airlines. Do you travel much, Mex?
Oh, sí, I travel to get here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's nowhere near the problems I have to
Oh, sí, I had to pay $4,000 americanos to un coyote to bring us over. Pero the coyote locked us into a troca and took all our dinero. We couldn't breathe. And my arm got macheted by accidente. We had to crawl to a pinche sewer pipe full of ratons. Como así, hombre. Ah, here come the ratons. Y the snakes, they get into your pantalones y bite your bolas. La migra! I'll come back for you, Maria! No! Pero I was still able to work the next day. ¿Y tú? What happened to your travels?
They lost my luggage.
Oh. Did I mention Las Puranas?
A new age is dawning! We will never retreat! We will never surrender! Mexicans! Tonight, we dine in San Diego!
Microphone, guitar, drums, the same lame instruments.
Take it to the next level with Accordion Hero, Legends of Accordion.
Our wireless, touch-sensitive accordion control delivers the most authentic accordion experience right out of the box.
With a huge song list of all your favorite hits
From icons such as
La Banda,
Los Tigres del Otro Lado
and Black Sabbath.
and with the polka, wapango, dance mat,
You'll have all the music takes to be a star. Accordion Hero will take you on a journey to a new dimension of badass. Is there an accordion hero in you? Unleash your inner Mexican with Accordion Hero, Legends of Accordion!
From Rockstar Games, makers of first-person sprayer Hola and a legal Resident Evil.
Hola, soy un Mex.
And I'm a BC.
Oye, ¿yo qué?
No, I think I got carpal tunnel.
¿Carpe qué?
Carpal tunnel. And my doctor gave me a prescription for my restless leg syndrome, but it's just not working. Look!
Oh, you sick.
Yes, that's what I've been saying. Oh, I think I need physical therapy.
Ah, no, hombre. I know someone who can help you. Do you have $7?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you do?
¡Salte, Satanás, por los siglos de los siglos santos! ¡Salte, Satanás! ¡Salte, Satanás, de este cuerpo que no te conviene a ti! ¡No te pertenece! ¡Salte, salte!
Ah! What the hell's she doing to me? Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Wow, I do feel better.
Hey, she does house calls también.
What do you do if that doesn't work?
I break through La Virgen.
And if that doesn't work?
Pues, I drink. Virgencita, por favor, me da una cerveza.
Wow, can I pray to the Virgin too?
No.
Excuse me, sir, let me get a, No! Who are you?
I'm a BC.
Y I'm un Mex.
Why the hell are you dressed that way?
Hombre, hago la latería. And I'm an Americano muy chingón, just like you.
But you look ridiculous. You don't even match. And I already told you, I'm a BC.
And I'm un Mex.
And I'm with Homeland Security, and I can't tell the difference.
What? But surely you're kidding. I mean, it's so obvious. Look, man. He's the one you should deport, not me. Tell him, Max.
I've never seen this man before in my life.
All right, you're both coming down to processing. We'll let them sort it out.
It's okay. I'll be back next week.
No, wait, you can't take me there. I don't even speak Spanish.
How do I get out of that? I'm going to play the next one in a minute. Yeah, so that's some of the videos we've done over the years. We started doing videos in 2001. So the whole way that the group began was because there was a void of this kind of performance, and we didn't start doing videos until a few years in, pre-YouTube. We actually were pre-YouTube. But, we saw a void in Austin of opportunities for Latino performers and writers because we write all of our own material. And a lot of actors at the time, and I'm sure it's true to some degree now, there wouldn't be opportunities in the theater courses at UT. There wouldn't be opportunities in the theaters and the productions they put on. So we just decided, under the umbrella of Teatro Humanidad Cansada at the time, to create something where people could create their own material and have their own platform to do material about our communities, about where we come from, with jokes and humor. We understand. I saw you are laughing really hard at a lot of this stuff. So, I mean, the idea was to do material that was about and for us, but that was accessible enough for anybody with a sense of humor to be able to appreciate. And obviously, we did material that was a lot about immigration issues, about cultural issues. And it's interesting looking at some of the stuff we did in those years that it was way ahead of the curve to the point where I even had a one-man show that I did originally 20 years ago that I just brought back a year or so ago, and it was actually more relevant now. It was a show called Barrio Days, and it was more relevant now, and people thought I had just written it, because a lot of these issues have actually gotten worse. There's another video I wanted to show that we actually brought back. We did in 2011 that was ironically, again, more relevant right now than when we first did it, if I can get to it.
With the number of illegal aliens in America at 12 million and growing, what can the nation do?
Pass comprehensive immigration reform?
A more streamlined path to U.S. citizenship?
Let's build a big-ass wall! Why build 4,000 miles when 4 feet will do? Introducing Porter Border, your own personal portable anti-immigrant security system. Porter Border is perfect for all locales and situations. An emergency room. At the office.
Hey Garcia, here's that sales report.
With domestic help.
Cómete la papa, huerca. Ay, por favor, cómete la papa. Ay, ay.
Just about anywhere. And Porter Border's built-in sound filter will transform any cultural audio intrusion to your liking. One size fits all, Mexicans. You just grab, wield, and repel. It even works on dark-skinned non-Mexicans.
Huh?
Porter Border is built right here in the US of A by our innovative corps of engineers.
Good work, muchachos. Look at me. I'm Mexican free.
Thanks, Porter Border.
Thanks, Porter Border.
Thanks, Porter Border.
Cállense, pendejos.
We may never build the wall and we can't send them all back. But it's the next best thing. Porter Border. Available in original wall, stainless steel, and fine cherry sandalwood finish. Order now and get at no extra charge Porter Border Lego for kids.
And now from the makers of Porter Border, Gentrifence.
Now, this was so prophetic that actually a couple of weeks ago we saw that somebody had created a MAGA Lego build-a-wall kit for kids. I get this all the time. I get people sending me articles and links to things that they're like, the LCP did this first. You know, it's gotten so ridiculous that things that you would do as satire, taking it many steps beyond what you thought would ever be reality, is now reality. Including something about the next show I was going to share with you. The show we came back and did was called Gentra Effed, and it was about the gentrification happening on the east side and, like I said, around the country. And one of the videos in the show is there's a running joke in the show, warning signs of gentrification. And the show was written a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago. And one of the warning signs was white people walking dogs. So if the more frequently you see a white person walking their dog, the more in trouble your neighborhood is, right? And it was something I observed, and then just last year, or earlier this year, people started sending me an article from the Austin American-Statesman that said that you would see fewer children on the east side and you would see more dogs. So that was a sign of the changes happening on the east side. And one of the jokes in that little bit was, for every gentrifier's dog, it represents 6 displaced humans. So it was, again, prophetic. And like I said, we came back and did that show. It was an all-original show. When we were asked to do a reunion show for the Austin Sketch Fest in fall of 2016, we debated whether to do a greatest hit show, you know, kind of a reunion show of material that we'd done on tour before, or to do something brand new. And our approach, at the time it was me, Nick Walker, Michael Trejo, Dano Uribe, Yamina Cohen, and Omar Gallaga, at least half of us, which had been part of the group from the beginning in 1997. And we're still involved with that show. We said we need to do something that's relevant, because that's what we always try to do. We always try to do material that was relevant to what was happening. And also material that spoke for people who couldn't speak for themselves, and also material that nobody else was tackling, which was personally a kind of an annoyance for me, because we hear this comedy scene in Austin being touted all the time in the local press, yet one of the most pressing important issues happening right in our own backyards was not being dealt with at all by people who had a platform to at least speak on it and comment on it. So we took up that mantle and we did a show, like I said, Gentra Effed, which was successful beyond our expectations. We figured we would only do it one time at the Sketch Festival and try to do our best on that performance, and then, you know, go on from there. But it had such an impact, and we brought it back and did a couple of runs of it, and it was a sold-out show every time we did it. And we also took it to San Francisco Sketch Festival and performed it at the Mission District theater there, where these things have been happening for a while, and it was very impactful there as well. We sold out all those shows, but more importantly, we had people coming up and telling us that the show could have been written about what was happening just down the street from the theater where we performed it. And I want to share with you a couple of pieces from that show. The first of which is the opening sketch from the show.
Now, ma'am, I know this is difficult, but the entry interview is standard procedure, so just whenever you're comfortable.
After the invasion, our neighbors started to disappear, family by family. It was like they were targeting us. The newsman called it ethnic cleansing. Soon, our homes weren't our homes anymore. We lost everything. They made us leave everything behind. They gave us no choice. And now, me and my husband, our poor children, we have to start over again.
That's all over now. You're safe here. No one will ever make you go back to East Austin. Welcome to Pflugerville, Mrs. Gonzalez.
those actresses are Donna Uribe and Yamina Cohen. They are incredible actresses. We were really lucky they were able to do the show. Just as an inside note, that was the very first sketch in the show, right? And that was from the very first performance we ever did of it. And I wrote that opener, and I thought, I was backstage, and I was like, I was waiting, because that was the first laugh of the show, right? And we wrote it, and I directed it to tell them that basically this is a scene, you need to treat this with the utmost seriousness. Up until that first joke, do it like a dramatic scene, you know? And I was like, are they gonna see this coming? They gotta see this coming from a mile away. And then when that big laugh happened, I was backstage like, yes, they didn't see it coming. I was so happy, but that was when I knew the show was gonna work, and they nailed it so hard. And it was a great experience from the very first performance we did it. And there's one other video from the show I want to share with you. It's a video. It's a actual, not a live performance thing, but a video starring Nick Walker, who's been involved since the first year. He's one of my best friends of my whole life, and in the LCP, he's our token white guy. That's what we call him. And he's a super multi-talented guy, a graphic designer, incredible. At so many things, but he's also hilarious. I'll show her.
Sup? It's me, the so-called hipster. You've probably seen a lot of me lately. And yeah, sometimes I want to punch me in the face too. Gentrification, it's more than just an innocuous-sounding multi-syllable word for get the out. And hipsters, we're just the earliest, most visible face of the process. Gentrification also takes developers, like me, who buy depressed properties from economically squeezed homeowners, then demolish them to build luxury townhouses. Hey, that's the free market. We put your neighborhood on the market, and you are free to leave. But we couldn't do it without your banker.
Through historically biased lending practices, we've starved your community of local investment for decades. So when white flighters decide they're ready to be urban again, we reap the profits. And making it all possible is your city government.
We facilitate the rapid inflation that forces longtime residents out of their homes. Through a combination of self-interest and malign neglect, we just sit back and watch the magic of capitalism as it replaces true culture with a lot of ugly plastic boxes. But then that was the original vision of our
city's founding fathers. We designed the city to properly segregate its darker peoples within the squalid quarters our descendants now seek to reclaim. But we were only continuing the hallowed tradition established by the OGs, original gentrifiers. We invented the art of discovering places that already exist and ruining them. You could say we revitalized the Western Hemisphere via a makeover of its entire native population. Die, savage!
But none of this would be possible without you.
Me? But I just want to stay in my home with my family and live my life the way that...
Conquistador Realty and Development, where our slogan is...
You have it. We want it.
It's ours. Because... It takes a village to destroy a community.
So that was the last show we did. We did, like I said, like 3 different runs of that over a year's time or so, and it was a very successful show. And if it weren't for the marketing demands of doing a new production, we had enough material left over to do a second show, which hopefully we'll get to, because the problem is obviously not going away, and it's not getting better. And my goal for a second show, I've already told people, my goal for the second show is to embarrass people. Like, that's going to be the purpose, is to particularly single out, because this show was like a general take on the subject, with a couple of exceptions. We did a sketch about the Blue Cat Cafe and what happened there with the Jumpolin Piñata. Are y'all familiar with that? Yeah. Where they bulldozed Jumpolin Piñata shop, and then there was a cat-friendly cafe that opened up right there on that property. Except the sketch was done from the point of view of the cats. and they were having a political debate amongst themselves. But for the most part, it was a general take on the subject, which is why it played strongly even in places like San Francisco that didn't know what the Jumping Piñata Shop was. But if we were to do another show about the topic, the goal would be to specifically embarrass the people who are, like you said, this, city council people, all the different people in the chain of that's required to make these things happen. But this is off topic a little bit. But in my research doing writing that show, you realize that the core of it is not local gentrification; it's inequality, income inequality. That's at the heart of it all, because that's what allows people with a lot of resources to come in and push around those who have been stagnant or have fewer resources. So that's a bigger. So there's the macro and the micro on that topic, and I definitely want to deal with it more. I guess I could talk to you more about the LCP if you have questions when we get to that. But I can share with you now what we're doing now. This year we did a Kickstarter campaign for a project which I hadn't intended on doing, but it seemed like such a good idea because I had one of many ideas of doing a mashup of like a Latino mashup of something pop culture, and I grew up loving Star Wars, so I had this idea to do a Latino version of Star Wars, and I didn't really think much about doing it seriously. But then, whenever I was talking about it to Nick Walker, the guy that was in that video you just saw, he suggested, if you were to do it as a May the 4th and Cinco de Mayo weekend event, and I was like, one of those ideas, like that's such a great idea. I can't believe it didn't occur to me. And when he said that, I thought, well, we almost have to do it now, because who else is going to do that but us? But then I started thinking really hard about what would make it fun to write, because I'm past the point with the group of writing just straight up parodies anymore. I mean, Gentura Effed was very different from shows we'd done in the past because it wasn't really parody or based. It wasn't really pop culture related. It was more about presenting people and how they've been affected and scene based. So I thought, if we're going to do something parody, kind of a quasi parody like a Star Wars thing, what would make it worth doing? And the answers I gave myself as a writer were, you need to make the characters actually not just be two-dimensional cardboard parodies of other characters, but have them have their own drives and their own emotional lives in the arcs in the story, and also to make a political allegory with what's happening right now. The resistance that's happening right now in our country, and make it a commentary on that. So with that in mind, this is the Kickstarter video we did. We have a Kickstarter campaign we're launching in a little over a week, and I want you guys to be the first audience to see the Kickstarter video if you are interested in seeing it. Hi, I'm Adrian Villegas, Artistic Director of the Latino Comedy Project, and I want to tell you about an incredible event that you can help make possible. The Latino Comedy Project's first annual Star Wars, May the 4th Cinco de Mayo Comedy Fiesta. Celebrate May the 4th and Cinco de Mayo as we honor culture, fandom, and the timeless tale of a princesa, a migrant moisture farmer, and brave rebels in their battle against galactic tyranny. And it all began with those famous words. And who could forget that opening crawl? Latino Comedy Project. The Latino Comedy Project, or LCP, is an Austin-based Emmy-nominated sketch troupe known for our political and pop culture satire, with over 14 million views on YouTube. And our most recent critically acclaimed show, Gentrified, has enjoyed sold-out runs from Texas to California. In the first of what will hopefully become an annual fan event, the LCP's Star Wars will be a multimedia extravaganza of live comedy, original video parodies, and interactive fun, brought to you by hardcore Latino fans who know the difference between a Rodian, a Toydarian, and no chingin. Join us as we reimagine the world's most famous space opera as the bold vision of Jorge Lucas, militant Chicano studies major and online film school dropout. Through his legendary company, Lucasfilm, Jorge created a universe that changed the world. And will include all your favorite Star Wars moments, like Han Solo's famous jump to hyperspace to escape the Empire's evil space juggernaut. Chewie, hit the hydros! Or the passing of a sacred weapon from one generation to the next. Your Appa wanted you to have this. What is it? Your Appa's light bender. A weapon together. Hey, wait! And of course, a look behind the scenes at the creation of his Star Wars' most beloved characters, like the galaxy's greatest Jedi Maestra, Yoda. We need to create a mystical, all-knowing creature who can instill great power and wisdom in a small stature. And for Latinos, that can mean only one person, an abuela. But space epics and multimedia extravaganzas aren't cheap. And we are on a Latino budget. And what you've seen in this video is only a fraction of what we have planned. In addition to the LCP's award-winning work, this will be a full-blown fan event, complete with mashup costume contests, exclusive merchandise, and a rousing score by the London Mariachi Philharmonic. And whether you're here in Austin to enjoy the live event or not, we offer campaign rewards that will allow you to enjoy the full glory of the Star Wars experience wherever you are. But tickets can't go on sale unless we meet our minimum goal. Hey, we've got a really good feeling about this. And we hope you'll help the Latino Comedy Project make the Star Wars May the 4th Cinco de Mayo Comedy Fiesta a reality. Or, in the words of La Princesa,
Help me, Tío Juan Kenobi. Oh, hell no!
So tickets for that go on sale at the beginning of February. I don't know if, I guess we can give you guys our website and all that stuff. You can keep up with that. I was gonna do a little performance stuff, but it doesn't look like this stage is good for that. This would be where, how much time do we have left? Okay, well, we could do the Q&A. We can start with Q&A. You guys got an idea of what I do. I think that's, yeah. Did y'all see enough? Is that enough video for y'all? You guys got an idea what we do? The website, okay, so you could go, I would say just Google Latino Comedy Project. It'll bring up our website. It'll bring up the Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. Star Wars Comedy Fest has its own Instagram and Facebook page. And so if you just, Star Wars Comedy Fest or Latino Comedy Project, all of the links will come up. And we're in pre-production on that. I'm actually finishing writing that right now, that show, and it's gonna be surprising. I think it's gonna surprise people. Anyway, if you have questions, and any questions you have, I mean, like, I don't know if I provide enough background information, but if you have any curiosity about anything, I'm happy to answer.
¿Por qué el pollo traverso el camino?
I don't know. To get to the other side? That's a good question. Anybody? Okay, I could just keep talking too. That's the other possibility.
Hi, do you ever do any improv or work with any of the people at the Hideout Comedy?
I've gone and I know a lot of people. Well, that's the thing. Like I said, I was kind of out of the loop for a few years from doing anything. And in the last couple of years, since LCP started doing stuff again, I've made so many new friends. And a lot of those people are from the improv community. And it's been really cool because there's so many more young performers of color that are doing improv and doing comedy in town than they used to be, like 10 years ago. So I've gotten to know a lot of those guys. I don't personally do improv. I've never taken classes for it. I've always wanted to, because I know it's a great way to generate material. My improv happens as a writer whenever I'm going through all my drafts, and you're coming up with stupid ideas that you end up discarding and you keeping the good ones. But I'm very friendly with a lot of people from the Hideout, from Cold Town, and what's now the Fallout Theater, which used to be the New Movement Theater. Do you know a lot of those people?
No, I just like going to their shows. My cousin does a lot at the Hideout.
Your cousin does a lot at the Hideout? What's your cousin's name?
Aaron Signs.
I know of him, but I've never met him. I know, 'cause on social media. You connect with all kinds of people you may not even meet until later. But no, I'm really grateful for the talent that's coming up in that community right now. Really grateful, and I'll probably be trying to tap into some of those talents for Star Wars too, probably. So.
I just had a question. So I think you said you've been working since 1997.
Yeah.
So I wonder.
I've been performing since '96 officially, but I did my first performances professionally in '97, and so did the LCP.
I guess just from a creativity standpoint, like how do you keep that energy going for 20 years and working on the same, in the same vein, or trying to add different things to it, but how to keep staying in that field and keep on working through it for such a long period of time?
I thought about this a lot lately, because I think lately a lot of people are feeling very frustrated and despondent at times and angry. And I've been very lucky, because I feel the same way as everybody else does at the world around us and things that happen, but I have an outlet for it. So I think as long as you're engaged with the world, and as long as you care about what's happening in the world, and as long as you have a sense of indignation about things that need to change, or things that aren't being said, that's usually what drives me, or what are the things that nobody's saying, and there's always that. There's always that. So that's what's driven me over the years and kept me engaged, is really just caring. And I do consider myself very lucky that I have an outlet for those feelings. As far as from a craft perspective, it helped me a lot when I took the break from running the group, because I did feel there was a point where I felt like I was being, it was superficial work. I got to the point where I could write parody and satire like in my sleep. It's like it wasn't challenging me anymore. And when I took a break from it, I delved more into screenwriting, story structure, mythology, things like that. So that when we came back and did the Gentra F show, the writing for that show, at least the writing I did, was a lot richer for that. So that's the fun. That's the challenging thing, but that's also the fun thing about any kind of creative endeavor, is that you never learn enough. And you're never good enough. I don't mean that in a negative way, but you can always be better. You can always learn something new. So it's, you just got to keep learning and examining what you're doing and enjoying when you get it right, but also asking yourself how you could do it better. So, and also I've been really lucky, because in that time with the guys in the group, incredibly talented people. I've been very spoiled as a director working with those guys, because they can do anything. That's they could do anything you ask them to do. They're really talented performers and writers, because we all write for the show. So it's just a journey, and you have to keep the work separate from yourself. Invest yourself in the work, but you are not the work. The work is a craft, so you just you treat it like a craft. You try to learn new tricks as you go. So yes, ma'am.
I thought you were great. I can hardly wait to see the Star Wars show. This was really funny.
Well, thank you.
So this is a more serious question, sort of, I guess. So in thinking about gentrification, have you thought about the ideas people are coming up with? Have you paid attention to the gentrification task force that the city has? I'm not saying it's, great or anything, because it seems like, to me, even the ideas they're coming up with aren't really going to address it in any deep way. It's sort of like Band-Aid here, Band-Aid there or something. But have you looked at that at all?
I've been guilty, like a lot of people, of not paying close enough attention to the super details of everything that happens locally. I think a lot of us are guilty of that. But I've gotten the same impression you have, that a lot of it is Band-Aids. What was the next, what was they called it? The Code Next? I already forgot what it was called. Yeah, and I actually had a conversation with one of the people who developed that. I didn't even know. It was somebody I'd known for a long time. He was one of the people that developed it, and they shot that down. As long as they just keep inviting more people and more money, and just for the sake of bringing more money into the city, with no sense of how to structure that, it's just, yeah, it's not, none of these other things they suggest are going to change anything. And then they just announced the Apple, which is, immediately I just think traffic. Like, that's more traffic. Like, they can even deal with the traffic that we have now. And also where those people are going to live. They're going to take somebody else's home when they move here. Yeah, I've and you hear different things too. Like, there's so many factions, like somebody that you thought, oh, this person is on the right side of things. You'll hear, well, they're not enough. I mean, there's all these, like the left in particular has all these like intra squabbles that are self-defeating a lot of times and not keeping their eye on the bigger picture. And because you're not doing it the exact way that I think you should be doing it. Meanwhile, everything continues on the same trajectory. So, I don't know. Like I said, until you really deal with the underlying, income inequality issue, which is a national, global issue. Because I mean, in my research, I was hearing about gentrification issues in cities and countries that I was like, what? What? Yeah, they're talking about this over there, and it's all about income inequality. And I don't know it's not one solution. It's many solutions in many different places that you have to push, and it's a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle. I refuse to answer any question that this woman asked me.
Sorry. So we're good friends, and I want to ask you something that I think is really important for our community here at First UU. How can we, being that we are largely a majority white or white passing community, help and support, I shouldn't even say help, but mainly support people of color, artists and groups and organizations here in Austin, like the Latino Comedy Project, whether it's financially or physically or by presence? Like, what are the ways in which we can show up for our people of color artists here? I should say that you would recommend.
Well, I just appreciate you literally showing up to the shows. Beyond that, well, the Kickstarter was a really cool indicator of support and confidence that people showed. I would say, well, I'm going to admit to something here, but like, I can only see so many things that happen in town. I mean, I can't go to everything, but I will prioritize things by people of color who I know, especially who I know are really talented. I will want to go, and personally, I will want to go and support the things that I know had the hardest journey to exist, just by, just given the averages. So, I would say just be conscientious about, make those choices. Be conscientious about who you support. Look and see if it's a small startup company. Do your homework too. Like I like to go to things that I know I'm going to enjoy. I don't want to go to something that's mediocre, although I have done that. But if I hear that somebody's doing really great work, and I know that they're an underserved, they're doing work from an underserved community, I will make it a point to go to that. The LCP has been very lucky in that the shows we've done since we've come back have been self-funded. Like the box office of people that have shown up have made those shows profitable. And also, I would say do research and find out if the places you're supporting pay their actors. You'd be surprised who doesn't. I've made it a point to make sure that everybody that's involved with us since we've come back to doing it, that they get paid a fair wage and that they get paid what their professional skills warrant, given the money that we make. So I would say look into that, everybody, please, because there's things I've found out in the last year or so that have shocked and infuriated me that I can't really do anything about because they're not my venues and they're not my platforms. But I've seen some very talented minority performers doing shows that they are not compensated for, and they could be. So that's another thing, that's another thing to be conscious of. And I don't want to name any names, but I think we both know who we're talking about. It's more than one place. So I would say be conscious of that. And like I said, just prioritize who you support. Like, you know, so little can go so far, like encouragement and being an audience that shows up. And I try to give everybody I know encouragement. I mean, even if it's a small compliment, even if it's, and I try to be as specific as possible, because when you give a general, oh, that was good, people are like, that just goes in one out the other. If you tell them like, that thing you did there that had this effect on me was, you know, and you're very specific, that will stick in people's minds. I promise you, it will mean a lot to people. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but but most importantly of all, beyond everything I just said, you can ignore everything I just said. Support the Latino County Project. No, but I mean, if that Kickstarter seemed like it would be a fun show to go to, you know, by all means, look out. February 1st, we'll have tickets on sale on Eventbrite, and we'll be pushing it on all of our platforms. And I'm looking forward to doing the show. And the idea is for it to be a first annual. So if this goes well, we can do it. There's a May 4th and 5th on the calendar every year, as far as last I checked. So it could be a thing. And the idea is not just to make it a Star Wars thing, but to make it like a minority, like a geek of color. Well, for geeks of all kinds, but specifically something that will resonate with geeks of color, you know, who are far more visible and vocal now than we've ever been. Me and Maria are in that group. And so it's hopefully it can transform into something like that over time. So yes, sir.
Yes, it seems that most of the things that we've observed today really have a strong political message, and I'm wondering, with Texas becoming a majority minority state, it seems like this would be a logical connection for political ads. And wonder if you've been contacted for political advertising, especially in areas where there's high minority concentration, and if not, I wonder why not.
Well, like I said, we were off the map for about 4 years, and I have made connections with political people in the last couple of years, which has been kind of surprising. Some of them, like even some council members, have shown up to our shows. But as far as like statewide political ads, yeah, you're right. You could easily transfer the attack that these videos take into something that's political advertising. If you know anybody who might be interested, yeah, send them our way. That's an interesting thought. And I'm a very political person, so our group was definitely going to be very political from the beginning. I didn't mention my one-man shows, really, but like I said, the one I brought back last year, Barrio Days, was the whole framework of it was it's a day in the barrio, and it takes place on election day, and the election is between a kind of, you know, Texas Republican coded racial campaign and a grassroots Chicano independent candidate, and there actually are some like fake political ads in that show, particularly the Republican candidate's ad, but that's a very political show, and I would love to work on something like that. I think that would be, because storytelling and humor are like secret weapons, I think, in everything, you know.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Peggy, and the first thing I want to do is really lift up. I like that comment you made about supporting the Latino Comedy Project.
Self-interest.
Yes. Well, no, it's of interest to all of us, and many of us here, because in this community, we do care a lot about social justice.
I appreciated the signs when I came in, by the way. I've never been here before, but the sign that says this is a sanctuary place and like use whatever bathroom you want. I love that.
Good, thank you.
I hope you didn't mind that I was in the stall next to you in the women's room. No, I'm joking.
But they're private, so that's cool. And you'll make a joke about it, I guess, at some point. Well, what I want to bring up is for those of us who do stand up and fight and speak up at the legislature and really care deeply about our, I want to say, immigrant community and also all people of color. It gets very hard, and so I'm really impressed that you can turn it into humor. And this may be an impossible question, but anything you can share. I mean, obviously, the indignation, I think we've got that. But you have a unique gift, I think. And obviously you have a whole team of people working with you. But anything you can say to turn things into humor when you're just so mad.
That is hard. I mean, and like I said, I look around a lot, and I stop and wish that because I know people, they're banging their heads against a wall, and it's the feeling that's, especially the last couple of years, people just really are and feel hopeless and feel attacked and feel like they can't help others. And of course, that has a lot to do with each person's psychology too. Some of us are more susceptible to despair and than others. And I think I always, and sometimes some people make me feel like I'm being stupid for thinking this, but I have optimism in people. I have optimism in the goodness of most of us. I'm not going to say all of us, because some of us are crap people, right? That's indisputable at this point. But I think the majority of people are good, and I think there's more good people than not. And I think we saw that in the midterms. We saw engagement on a level that happened because a lot of people who didn't think their engagement was needed realized that it was needed. And so more good-hearted people showed up than not, and more will continue to show up. So sometimes it takes, hitting rock bottom, just like a person with a real problem. And I think our country does have a real problem. So it's almost like we had to hit rock bottom to a degree to turn things around. But I think I applied the philosophy that I also have in my own personal life, which is at times where things were at their lowest, or I was struggling at the most, or the most, like there was periods where everything that was possibly bad that could happen happened within a few months period. This was just like 3.5 years ago, and at that time and other times like that weren't quite as bad, you just go, you know what? Every time I've ever been struggling before this, I got through it. There was another side to it. It passed, the good times passed, but so did the hard times, right? So, but because you kept pushing through it, you kept pushing through it. So I kind of feel that way about humanity, and I feel that way about the country, and about people. I have more faith in people than I have disappointment, So, and the humor part of it, as far as what I do, I've come to appreciate it more myself, because when we came back and did the Ginger Eft, and we saw the response, we really weren't planning on doing a run of it ourselves after that comedy festival. But when we saw the response, when we did do our own run of it, and we saw the reaction, I think we all realized this is a responsibility. And that's why I brought my one-man show back too, because I thought there's a need out there from an audience that you are by doing this kind of work and by saying the things you're saying in it, and also entertaining them at the same time, but particularly the ideas that you're reflecting, you are reassuring people that they're not crazy, they're not in the minority, they're not wrong to believe in the right things. I mean, there's a cathartic quality to it. And when I realized that, which I always was aware of, but I was reminded of it, I thought, this is a service you're providing. And somebody might walk out of that show feeling affirmed in a way that they weren't when they walked in, and as a community, because you're sitting there as a community, an audience, a mini community in that theater. So that's kind of what drives what I've been doing, and again, it goes to just reminding people that it's okay, you're okay, other people are with you, So that's kind of where I come from, and but the anger definitely is fuel. It's fuel, and I don't know. I don't know what I'd be thinking if I couldn't turn it into something else. But
we have like 2 minutes left.
Okay, so. We'll just sit here and count to 120. One more question or no? I can just wrap it up.
Do you try to, or can you, broaden the outlook or attach the outlook of the Latino community to disasters in the world, such as Trump, such as climate change, such as the disappearance of insects. I mean, all these things are crises.
Yeah, you could conceivably. Everything's fodder for material. We have actually done. I mean, we're gonna deal with Trump in the Star Wars show. We actually did a video right before the election in 2016 about some Latinos for Trump in the Valley, and they made a Facebook Live video through CNN of one of their little get-togethers, and it was already a sketch. I mean, I had to change so little of what was actually said and done at that thing. It was already ridiculously funny. Everybody attacks Trump, and that's, from a comedy perspective, that's very trite at this point because he's such an easy target. Thank you. But I find it more useful to go after people who enable it, because I think they're the real problem, and they're going to be the problem after he's gone. To me, he wouldn't have been possible without the people who opened the door for him and who wanted what he brought to the table. I find that a more rich and angle to go after that, because it's an American problem. When he's gone, we're still going to have this problem of like, I'd say like 30% of our population that has now literally stepped over a line into, like, we want fascism. They've made that clear. So attacking the mentality is more valuable to me than attacking a particular person, because he's a symptom, of a terminal disease if we let it. So.
Okay, we're about out of time. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed it.